Hello and welcome back. So last time I did a Mother's Day, and this time I'm doing a Father's Day. And I had planned on doing a whole bunch of things that didn't end up actually happening. So what you are seeing now is a brand new setup. We have my lovely little blue screen window where I'm going to be showing off things. We've got a brand new 60 frame per second camera that's only recording 40 frames per second right now, but I'm happy with it. My mouth and my voice seem to be lined up good. I don't seem to be slowing down, and I am not completely pixelated. So we're going to call this a win. All right, so for those of you who saw the last attempt at a Father's Day video that was uploaded just a tiny little bit ago, I really deeply apologize. I have no idea what happened. And what do we have here? So what we have here is an unidentified bronze artifact. I believe it to be a legitimate artifact, but I can't guarantee that to be the case because I couldn't find the original location where this is from. What I like to do is I will find a artifact online, and then I'll do a whole bunch of sleuthing to find the museum listing for it. With the museum listing, I can generally find provenance. That is the chain of custody that an artifact has had, and where it was found, under what conditions it was found. These are very important features. Without them, it's really hard to tell whether or not you're looking at a forgery. Forgeries are definitely out there, and there are definite forgeries in museums. When they find them, sometimes they like to show them off because a good forgery sometimes can be a better draw and more educational than actual artifacts, because you can use them and say, okay, this is pretty good. They showed these elements that you can see all over the place with genuine artifacts, but they got this and this wrong, and here's how we caught them. So with this particular artifact, we are looking at a bronze figure. He has a loop around his waist. This loop has rosettes. Those are not stars. And there are no astrological symbols around, so we are definitely not looking at a image that has astrological associations. That'll be important later. He has general artistic styles that we see in Mesopotamia, but also in the surrounding areas. Let's see. We have a single horn, or a single pair of horns focused in to the center, and that tells us that if this is a Mesopotamian god with Mesopotamian styles, that this is perhaps a minor deity, which would be strange to see in this detail, but not completely unheard of. Notice that the top of the helm is flat. So we don't generally see that with Mesopotamian artifacts. We generally see a rounded helm, and the more powerful gods will have 3 or even more sets of horns pointed inwards. And with some artifacts, we actually see horns pointed outwards. I always thought that was a cool style, but the horns pointed inwards likely had some other significance. Perhaps it was the difference between one set of cattle or another set of cattle, and we do know that different species of cattle were popular over different time periods. Okay, so the wings, we've got 4 wings. This is not common, but not unheard of. To the side, you see apkallu. Those are likely representative of mortal priests that are attending the god. And in his hand are what look to be poppies, or the experts generally agree that they are more likely to be pomegranates. There is very little evidence that they actually used poppies, and I've got a whole video coming out about that subject. Poppies, yes, can be used in bread, and yes, can be used in drug manufacturing, but it is not known that they knew how to do that. We don't have residue of those drugs in use. We don't have leftover remains of bread with poppy seeds. The flour was available sometime in the middle of the first millennium, but this is most likely a pomegranate. That is what the experts generally agree on. My personal understanding is that I don't know enough. I got a lovely present from my wife for Father's Day for herbalism that I'm going to be using to do more research to find out if there's any evidence that this is a poppy, or what more information I can find about the symbolism of the pomegranate. Okay, so this artifact, like I said, what I like to do is I find the artifact and I try and find what museum it's from. But I couldn't do that this time because this artifact has been spammed throughout the internet with bad information. It looks like a Mesopotamian sculpture with a few modifications, but you know the random people on the internet, they love their off-the-wall theories. So some of the theories say this is the god Anu, some of them say this is Enlil, some of them say Ishkur. Generally, some genetic engineering is thrown in just because, tinfoil hat crowd. Often the term alien is thrown about. One general thing that you see is the idea that loop that is around his waist is related to the constellation of Orion. And of course it's a constellation of Orion because it doesn't look a thing like the constellation of Orion. What they're trying to imply is that the 3 stars that are kind of in a line are represented by the dozen or so rosettes that are in a loop. No. Not even a little bit. So, if this has so many different features that don't really look a lot like Mesopotamian artifacts, we've got the flat top, we've got the loop around his waist, you've got the 4 wings, which again you see in Mesopotamia but not often. The style of the apkallu to the side is a little bit different. What might this be? Well, I couldn't figure it out. It looked a little bit like a Urartu artifact to me, so I asked around. And the general community says, it looks like an Urartu artifact to them as well. And I did notice in my search that there was an Urartu artifact that it did look like. And so I'm going to say this probably isn't Mesopotamian directly, but Mesopotamian adjacent. And that's really what I'm going to go with. So why is this a Father's Day video? Because quite often this is listed as the god Anu, and Anu is the father of the gods. In other words, Anu is the parent to both Enlil and Enki in many traditions. Anyway, hope that this works finally this last time, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Now, if you like this video, please stay tuned for my future video on the supposed Assyrian Tree of Life, also known as the Assyrian Sacred Plant Imagery, and check out some of my previous videos. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.